Yeah, yeah. A little idea to 5 episodes. Yeah. Uh, Check your Streamlabs and make sure you're good in Streamlabs.
Can you guys hear me now? Can you hear me now? Is it working? Is it working?
Yeah,
It's working? Okay.
yeah.
Well, then I have to repeat everything I just said.
Go for it. Take 2.
Daggone it.
It
Okay.
won't be repeating for them. It'll be the first time
No,
they hear
yeah. Unfortunately, I don't know why I got turned off. Anyway, what I was saying is that this is episode 5, and I'm very proud of us for getting to episode 5. And you guys know how excited I have been about our guest this evening, which is Nicole Elizabeth, animal communicator. Yay!
Hello.
So before we get started with Nicole, you guys know what time it is. It's time for the news.
Yeah, so news wasn't either easy this week. I think there's some things going on in Europe that are becoming most of the news this week, but I did find a few interesting things. The first one is snakes on a plane, and
What?
you can you can put the Samuel L. Jackson quote in there if you would like. Uh, an Air Asia flight was diverted after passengers spotted a snake on their plane.
Mm.
Passengers on an Air Asia flight had their trip rerouted after spotting an uninvited passenger on the plane. And there was a video that was posted by a passenger onto TikTok that has a picture. It's like the snake behind like one of the lights on the side of the plane, so you could just see like the shadow of the snake. Yeah. So there were some snakes on that
Yeah.
plane.
Get these MF and snakes off this MF and
Yeah.
plane. They
So
literally had to do that.
it actually happened, and they had to divert the flight to get the snake off the plane.
Did they say what kind of snake it was?
Um, no, let's
No.
see. The video has been shown, been viewed 2 million times, 2 million views. I don't think it said what.
Didn't say. Because I just
This is
picture,
not the first time that it's happened. There's been a couple of them.
I picture a giant snake, like a boa
Mm-hmm.
constrictor or something. But it could have been a small one.
Yeah, I can share. I have a link to the video. I can share the video in Discord or something.
Salty said a slippery snake. If it's
Yeah,
slipping through the light, I guess it
I tell
was.
you. Second story tonight is one that's close to my heart, which is archaeologists believe they discovered the tomb of Santa Claus.
No. Are you serious?
A team at St. Nicholas Church in Demre, Turkey, has found an intriguing shrine beneath the floors. So they were essentially doing like some scanning. There's like some mosaic tile floors in that church that are ancient.
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing like some surveying, and they found a chamber through the survey under the floor. Um, so now they are removing the mosaic like tile by tile, so it can all be put back the way it was before, so they can bust open the floor.
I hope they make a good map.
To yeah. Well, it's all archaeologists that are doing this, so
Yeah.
hopefully they know what they're doing.
Because me and Little
Um,
Wing, we worked in a place that made mosaics, and I'll tell you,
yeah,
it's not so easy.
yeah. So they are going to explore. There's been lots of myths over the years of different places that St. Nicholas was kept. Rumors that his bones were taken out of Turkey during the Middle Ages and taken to Italy. but archaeologists are becoming convinced that this might be the final resting place of St. Nicholas.
Wow, that's really cool. Salty said there was a viral video a few years back with the dude dressed as a snake. Yes. Is it the one where he's like, I'm a snake? If it is, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I thought I added this story, and I thought maybe Nicole Elizabeth might like this one, and that's a cat named Snowbird was lost more than 6 years ago.
Whoa!
At a birthday party at her family's child had a birthday party. The cat went missing. They assumed that it had been taken by a predator or something. And 6 years and 1,500 miles later, the cat was discovered in Florida, and she had originally lived in Maine.
Holy crap!
Wow, that's awesome.
How did the cat get there?
They don't know.
That's a long way.
The story says he looked for her for quite a while and sadly concluded that she had become prey for a predator. A veterinarian's office determined the cat's identity thanks to an implanted microchip.
Wow. I think I might have heard about that story.
And it's funny because it says that the veterinarian interrogated her quite strictly and she is not talking. But maybe, just maybe,
you got to have an animal communicator
talk
for
to
that.
Nicole Elizabeth.
Yeah.
They might say a little bit more.
I bet Nicole would be able to ask the cat.
Yeah.
How the hell?
That stuff running through my brain.
How the hell did you get to Florida?
In 6 years. I mean, 6 years.
6 years.
So tonight our guest is Nicole Elizabeth.
Yay!
She studied animal communication with Lillian Steiner through Findlay College, Trisha Carr, and Helen DeVita, as well as mediumship with Cindy Keza and
Cindy.
Lisa Williams. Nicole is a certified Reiki master and animal Reiki master, advanced angelic killing practitioner, and certified advanced angelic healing teacher. She has worked with clients from all over the world, including the US, the UK, Canada, Japan, Singapore, Spain, France, and New Zealand. Join us tonight from Australia. Please welcome Nicole Elizabeth.
Yay! We need a button where I can push it and it has applause.
Yeah.
Yay!
We have a crowd, but we can't really hear them.
Yeah.
I had to mute myself because one of my worst traits is talking over people because I get so excited. So I'm like, mute yourself so you don't talk.
You were writing stuff down when he was talking about the cat. What did you write down?
So, okay, so like I don't want to forget this. So missing pets. It's so funny that comes up today with the peahen story I was telling you.
Yeah.
A lot of owners, me included, when you have a missing pet, what do? It's dead, it's been killed, like it's been run over, like it's always worst case scenario. And because our brain protects us, because that's the way we can sort of get closure and move on, basically.
Yeah.
And I've worked with missing pets since 2014 with like lost pet register, so coordinating missing and found pets and all that sort of stuff. And I can tell you the majority aren't dead. But even just this morning, as I was telling these two, my peahen was fighting off a hawk or an eagle, and her baby went missing. And I was like, "That's it, she's dead," being overdramatic. Miss Animal Communicator.
Yeah.
But generally you need that third party, that third person to say, look, no, I can feel them alive. And when animals like that show up in different, I don't know where Maine and Florida is. I'm assuming it's a long way.
It's a long way away. Yeah.
Sometimes they can actually get caught in cars and go on trips.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're trying to find their way home. Some animals, what was it? A cat was walking I know you guys use miles and we use kilometers.
Yeah.
I've had a cat turn up 40 kilometers from home and it just
Wow.
walked there. It had moved and it had actually walked home because it was going back to what it considered home.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So and a lot of cats too can go in sewer systems and they can get a long distance between around the sewer systems.
What
because
sneaky little sneaks.
So you need to look down drains as well when you see when you're looking for missing pets, because they can actually get in over here they can get in quite easily and get out quite easily.
Yeah.
So nothing will surprise me. I think the longest I've heard was 14 years of missing cat. It's always the
Wow.
cats.
Yeah, it is always the cats, isn't it? Damn
It is.
cats.
Yeah, and a lot of the pets that do pass um, generally get found quite close to home and quite
Hmm.
quickly, because a lot of them get killed. It sounds terrible, but yeah, but having a missing pet is so distressing. It is
Yes.
like because
It
that's your
just happened to
child.
you today.
I know, and I was a basket case, and she's fine. She's over there. But my my human mogul brain was kicking in, and yeah, that's why often, like I have a colleague, Courtney, and she does animal communication. And often, like I'll ask her to talk to mine sometimes, or
Oh,
I'll talk to
yeah.
her horse sometimes, because sometimes it's easier when you don't have that emotional connection.
Hmm.
And it's like dog training. Like a dog trainer can get your dog to do anything, and you get it
Hmm.
home and you're like, sit. And like, you don't
Yeah.
expect me to sit? Hell's no. Because they don't have that emotional connection. So when they say something, they expect it and they get it. But we
Yeah.
say we don't want to hurt them. Like,
Hmm.
oh, but I'm doing, So
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
anyway, I tend to waffle, as you can see.
We have our friend Little Wing on here. They definitely are the dog owners that don't want to hurt the dog, so they need the dog trainer.
Yeah. Sometimes you do, and it's like putting someone in a job. You wouldn't put them in a job and not train them, even if
Yeah.
they've been in that job before. So you wouldn't raise a child and not show the child how to be a human. So
Hmm.
you train a dog how to be in the family. Like and it can actually be a really fun experience, because then it creates bonds between you two as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
I think, and then the dog actually, once you get an animal to trust you, like they'll do anything for you.
Hmm.
So you get that trust through the training, and they know that no matter what, you've got their back. You've got a good animal.
That sounds
Yeah.
wonderful. Little Wing said, "We yes, we do. Behaviorist, sometimes something
Yep.
for this little brat."
Do you know, I've got 4 dogs, and 2 of them can hear, 2 of them are deaf. And if there's any disharmony, or if they ever play up, we put them all in boot camp, our boot camp, for a week every day, morning and night. And it doesn't have to be long. It doesn't take them that long to fall back into line. And oh gosh, I can't remember the last time we've actually done it. When we moved here, probably about 4 years ago. It's just to get that balance. Sometimes your balance get out of whack,
Yeah, yeah.
because life changes, and it's just kind of to bring them back into that balance. And yeah, so I feel you. I feel you.
Oh,
Got an AM staff. I feel you.
Wander has redeemed the hydrate. I'm going to have some of my coffee. So, my first question for you tonight, Nicole, is how did you know that you could communicate with animals?
Oh, good question. I think I was actually telling Jenny this
Mm-hmm.
earlier on in the week. Nicole Elizabeth is my business name. I'm Nicole, obviously. Elizabeth is my past cat. She was the cat that I spoke to first. And for me, it was just normal. Like, I didn't even really use my words. Would just talk to my cat, and we'd have this
You said it
conversation.
was when you were a kid, right? How old were you when that had
Mm.
started?
Oh, little. Um, so I remember Dad of the Year. My dad was looking after me, and I remember nearly drowning in like an amusement
Oh
park.
my
And
goodness.
I was like, yeah, I was like, that's it. I'm drowning. I'm dead. I'm accepting my fate. Because as kids, you tend to accept things easier.
Yeah.
So calm and peaceful. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then I got yanked out of the water. And, from that point, that's when I'd started seeing, like someone would just walk into my room, or then we got the cat not long after. So it was just kind of,
So you kind of
yeah.
had like a near death experience that
Yeah. And it
started
sort
it.
of like
Yeah.
sparked it.
Wow.
But for me, I don't know why, I was just drawn to the animals, whereas my sister is drawn to the humans. And I find humans hard to comprehend, whereas because there's so many variables and
Yeah, yeah.
things, and
Hmm.
animals, I don't know, ultimately just here to teach you and love you. And you know I don't know, I just feel like it's simpler to me.
Yeah, I can see
But
that.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, they just it's just no fuss. And So I do remember when I was little and I was out somewhere and I had to say to my cat because it was raining. I think we're at the canals or we were kids playing at the canals. And I said, "You need to go home. You need to go home because it's raining." I don't know why I felt the need she had to go home. She could look after herself. But she did. She went home. And by the time we got home, she was waiting for us. Um, and so little things like that, she'd walk us when we'd go to school. She'd walk us to a certain point right near the highway. She wouldn't go on the highway. She'd stay there. She'd watch us leave, and then when we come home, she'd be in the same spot waiting for us, and then she'd walk
That's
us
so
home.
cool.
Like
What a cool cat.
she was the best. Um, yeah, and it just kind of. But then when you get a bit older, when you get to that teenage phase, and you're like,
Hmm.
"Ooh, ain't normal."
Yeah.
And then
Then
you like you
yeah.
just want to fit in.
Then you
Yeah, and
realize
you're like,
that, oh, wait a minute, me talking to my cat mentally was not normal.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I could hear, I've got a photo on my wall. I could hear, I remember being in my bedroom at night and I could hear all these people talking out my window. And I'd constantly say to my parents, "There's all these people talking. I'm sick of hearing them." And eventually I just got so sick of it and just shut it all down.
Yeah.
And I must have like put this like steel trap on it because it took me a lot to open up again when I was in my late 30s.
Yeah. I
So
think
yeah,
that happens to a lot of people. They have it
yeah,
when they're little, and then something happens to make them turn it off, and some of them never
yeah,
turn it back on. And some of them, yeah, and then some
yeah.
of them do. Like my mom was, she definitely had like, she would have premonitions, but they were never good ones. So then she turned it off
Oh,
because she didn't want to know bad stuff.
yeah.
And she never
That would
really
be
went back
hard.
to it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's where it comes through. It generally comes in the generation, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does
It's,
seem to. It's like
yeah,
genetic.
it's interesting.
It's got to be,
Yeah,
right? Got
I
to be
reckon.
genetic.
Yeah.
But then also it's environmental because yours turned on because you had a near death experience.
Well, that's true
Yeah.
too. So yeah,
And I think a lot of
I
people starts with trauma too. I think Cindy
Trauma.
mentioned that,
Yeah.
if you have a
yeah,
shitty childhood, sometimes that, gets you going in that direction also.
yeah, yeah. Because you can, I can understand that too because that's your escape. But
Mm-hmm.
what you're escaping to is actually more real than what we are experiencing. So it's kind of like you're drawing it closer, and then what you place your energy and you focus on, and it comes to you. So yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
just a reminder to chat if you guys have any questions tonight, you
Yeah.
can relay those questions,
If you got
and
questions come
try to
up,
get those answered. Yeah, feel
man,
free to put them
ask
in
them.
chat. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I have a question, and you said that the animals are here for love, but you talked about also to teach us.
Yep.
So what do our pets and stuff have to teach us?
That's a good question. Um, so many different things. So your wife did say you're a very good interviewer.
He is,
Um,
yeah.
so ultimately, basis of most animals is pure love, trust, and harmony. And what people don't have in their life most of the time is love, trust, and harmony. And sometimes animals, I always say you get the animal necessarily the animal you want because sometimes by them acting up, I'll give you an example. If you have a dog, if you have anxiety and all of a sudden you get a dog with anxiety and then you're feeding off each other's anxiety, having a pet with anxiety and trying to help them work through their anxiety and giving them tools and focusing on them actually helps you with your anxiety. And then um, it's kind of like a support system. Sometimes they will, sometimes they'll be in protest too about things, and but they'll change your behavior because you're not doing something that's for your best good, the highest good. And they just want to, because they can see things that we can't see. And I'll use cats because cats and horses are these amazing spiritual animals, and they can
Maybe
actually
that's why I
see.
like horses so much. I love horses. I didn't
They're
realize that they're like that too.
oh, see, I have a few clients who have horses, and it's interesting because of all the farm animals I have, I don't have horses. Um, but I connect to them, and they just have like they have these beautiful messages, and um, the owners, thank goodness, can confirm it. But they want you to like. What was it? One horse told me, the spirit of like the time of Christmas, fitting because you
Mm-hmm.
spoke about Saint Nick.
Yeah.
Um, you know how everyone is happy and wanting to the best for people, and um, you tend to forget what people have done during the year. You just want to have a good time, and there's a real happiness. Sometimes, on the other hand, it can be very stressful for other people, but generally, we have that time of forgiveness, and we want that magical time. And I had a horse say to me that that's what we've lost in our everyday life. Like, it shouldn't just be
Mm.
once a year. People should have that forgiveness for people, because horses do. Like, they could be terribly abused, and then they can learn to trust again.
Wow.
Um,
What a
so
smart horse. Holy moly.
it was, yeah, and like, as a person, I'm kind of like meh. Like, I get mad, but like, my emotion, I'm not overly. I get very excited, as you can see, but meh. That's my general mode. Meh. And so when an animal comes through and there's like, I can feel this love, and I'm like, that is not me, even though I love my animals.
Yeah.
It's a different feeling. And um cats can actually, because their eyes are made differently, they've got different cones and rods in their eyes. That's why when you shine a light on them at night, you can see the green.
Yeah.
It's actually a good way to spot a missing cat. They can see higher frequencies and higher vibrations, so they can see spirit. I had one cat show me through their eyes, and the cat said to me, I'm sure it was a female, said, no, I can see auras. So the cat can see your mode, your mood, your energy. And sometimes you'll see cats that sometimes sit where you need healing. Sometimes, if
Mm-hmm.
you might have it around your head, and you might have a little bit of um, crap going on in your head at the moment. You might have a heart, like, not heart physically, well, you could have a physical heart problem, but like love, and
Yeah.
it'll like sit on your chest. So I feel like animals are here to bring us balance. Often they get overlooked because they're just an animal.
Yeah.
um, but they're just not an animal, like,
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
they're teachers. And if you look to them, I'll give you another example. And Arwen, my goat, who was sitting right here, when
Yeah.
Jenny and I were
Mm-hmm.
talking last week, um, she was trying to explain to me earlier about trust, how people don't trust. And she'll jump on me so many times. If she misses and falls down, she'll just keep going.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't stop them. They don't fall in a little heap and go, oh my God, I can't believe I fell off. Like, they're like, okay, well, I fell off. Let's pick myself up and move on.
Yeah. They
And
don't they
sometimes
don't
we
give
need
up.
to,
Yeah.
yeah. And sometimes we need to, when that's happening in our life and we're seeing it, that's something that we need to be doing in our life. Um, we are, for me, I must have been not trusting and doubting, and, must have been going in that little heap. And she's kind of like, just keep going and just keep
Yeah.
jumping up. And
Yeah.
so you can see sort of, um, look at the way they're acting around you and see what lesson they could be trying to show you as well. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense in here, but I don't
Yes.
know when it got from here there to there.
No, it
If that
totally
makes
did
sense.
because I felt like
Yeah.
I was seeing them in a completely different way, the way that you're
Yeah.
explaining it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to make sure that Little Wing heard the thing about if you have anxiety and your dog has anxiety, then if you help them with their anxiety, it helps you with your anxiety. I think that was said just for you. So make sure you're
Oh, there
listening.
you go. And they'll pick up. So animals can pick up your emotions 3 times
Mm-hmm.
quicker than a human can.
She said,
You
yes,
know,
I
you,
did.
oh, yay! But it's so true, because, and a lot often, animals with anxiety too, what thing you need to do is be present in the moment, because what you're doing when you have anxiety is you're worrying about that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in this moment, and most animals are very present in the moment,
Yes, yes.
there's my rooster. Um, so it's kind of like, and it can't, sometimes it's a way that they mirror you, and that it's kind of, well, it's more of a circle really instead of a mirror. So if you teach the animal to be present in the moment and to trust and to take the fear of the unknown out, you'll tend to start doing those things in your life, and it'll help you.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've wanted to ask you, this is not necessarily like, communication question,
Hmm.
but so I know that you have had rescue animals, but like, do you have like a farm where you have animals, or do you
Yeah.
have a rescue facility where you take in animals, or both?
Yeah. Kind of both.
Both.
Both. Sorry. Um, sorry, I have a lot of roosters, as you can hear.
Yeah.
Um, so we do run a sanctuary and a rescue.
Okay. I thought so.
So Yeah, that's why we have a lot of animals. Again, they want to be known. So sometimes though, like when I do rehome them, sometimes they don't come here. I sort of just set up the home so it's easier and it's less stress on them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we do have them come here. At the moment, it's more of a sanctuary, but we've sort of stopped taking more animals because
Okay.
there are limits.
Yeah.
You can get overwhelmed very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I will then help other animals, find
Find a
homes or
home.
work with other rescues and things like that. So we are like a legit non-profit setup, um, where I don't know if you have it over there, but it's RSPCA over here in Australia. We work with them.
Yeah, we
We're
have
one of their approved
the
rescues.
ASPCA. Yeah, I guess that's the
Yeah,
same.
same
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. And so yeah, so we get what I call secondhand animals,
Yeah.
and we focus more on the farm animals and the cats and the dogs
Mm-hmm.
because there are a lot of rescues for cats and dogs. But my heart is with the farm animals, with the
Yeah.
cows. And so you can't
You
see them,
have
but
you have a
Mhm.
great story about a very special cow. You're
Oh, Emma the cow.
you're the cow with no tail, right?
Cow with no tail.
Yes. Will you
She
please
started it.
tell us the story about the cow with no tail?
Okay, so my niece. Oh, this is gonna be a long-winded story. I'll try and cap it into little. Um, my niece always said to my sister, Auntie Nikki always gets what she wants. And I thought that was hilarious. Um, because ever since I was little, I always wanted a cow. I just wanted a cow. And I went and moved to London and I lived in the city. Like, I was not really in a position to have a cow, but
Yeah,
I always
yeah.
wanted one. And then eventually out to the country and I was like, man, should I get a cow? No. But things always happen for the way they're
Mm-hmm.
meant to. And I was driving home and I thought it looked like there was a cow up on out of the paddock on the side of the road. And then I realized it was a calf and it was really close to me. So I slammed on my brakes, had to swerve so I didn't hit it because it went out on the road and sat.
Oh my
And
goodness.
then I'm like, oh my God. And then, like, we're in the middle of nowhere and there's this calf and someone stopped, thank God, and helped. And um, then we realized, hang on, this cow doesn't have a tail. It's been ripped off and it had bite
Wow.
marks
Oh my
all
God.
over it. So there's wild dogs out there. So generally,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the wild dogs will wait for the mum to give birth and kill it.
Oh,
Sometimes they'll try and pull it out. So what they did was they pulled off her tail and tried to eat her. I actually don't know how she survived, to be brutally
wow.
honest. And there was no cows around. It was like we're in the middle of nowhere. There's no cows, but there's this calf right here. Um, called the RSPCA because that's what you do, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh, probably not going to get out to her. And then someone said, just leave it on the side of the road. It'll be dead by the end of the
Oh
day.
my
Just let it die.
God.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not leaving this animal to die. And I thought, if this cow's going to die, she's coming home with me. She can die where she's loved. That's fine.
Yeah.
But we put her in the car, chucked her in the back of the car, went to all the farms
Mm-hmm.
that we knew that were all around. Nah, don't know. Tried Jimmy down the road, tried so and so. No one knew her. Tried one farm, they weren't home. And we're like, you know what? We'll try because it was the weekend. We'll try on Monday, contact the vets. They must know the farms. They may know. And, we'll take her home. And if she's going to die, we'll at least make her loved. So we took her home, expecting her to die,
Yeah.
fed her. She lived. And then on the Monday, we took her to the local vet and we're like, I don't know, like, do you know some of the farmers? The vet nurse was the niece of the farmer who knew the cow that was missing the
Oh
calf.
my goodness.
And it was Jimmy. And so we spoke to Uncle Jimmy and he was like, nah, keep her. Because she'd been away from her
Oh
mum
yeah.
and he's
I might not
like,
bond.
yeah, and he's
Yeah.
like, because he knew the vets didn't expect her to live either. Like, even though she lived the weekend, they're like, yeah, I don't know. So he's like, nah, she'll probably die anyway, keep her.
Wow.
So we spent a lot of money. She needed a tube to be fed. Yeah.
Wow.
Long story short, she lived, she grew, and then we thought we should like rescue animals like this. So she sparked that
Yeah.
rescue
Mm.
mentality in us. And then we saved for years to buy the place we're in now because we had 2 acres, so we could have her, but
Yeah.
we couldn't have any other animals. We had chickens. We rescued chickens and stuff, but very small scale.
Yeah.
That's what we've got now. Um, And so yeah, it took us years, and then things just fall into place, and then
When it's something you're
we didn't
supposed
even
to
really
do. Yep, sure does.
right,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't like we're like, well, look at this place, but we don't. We looked at it, we're like, oh my god, this is it, this is it. And then we bought this place, and then like had to build the fence, and it just that was it.
Wow. So how
So it's
many
because of Emma.
animals do you have now?
We have a lot. So at the moment we have like chickens. The chickens have it sounds bad, but they've sort of died out because we rescue them from battery farms, chicken egg
Okay, yeah.
farms,
Mm-hmm.
and they because they're so worn out, they actually don't live long.
Mm-hmm.
So we used to have a lot of those, but at the moment we've got chickens, ducks, geese, peacocks, guinea fowl, pigs, cows, sheep, and goats.
Wow.
And we've rehomed horses, goats, pigs, peacocks, um,
Wow.
chickens,
Okay.
all that sort
Well,
of stuff. So
I'm gonna pack up
it's
my stuff and I'm just gonna come move to Australia and I'll shovel shit or something. I don't care. I love
what we like to do.
animals. Shoveling shit.
My favorite pastime. Yeah, we shovel shit. Literally a hobby.
You'll
Yep.
get some better weather out of the deal right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I
You can
love
move
it.
to summertime.
it's sunny at the moment, but we moved here. It was so lush and beautiful, and there was so much grass, and the animals couldn't keep up. And then the drought hit, and we had
Oh,
2 years of no rain, and it was like,
wow.
we had to buy hay that was very scarce. We had to hard feed them. We were spending thousands on these animals, but
Wow. It's worth it.
that's what you do. Yeah.
So speaking of so many different animals, one of my questions was, do you find that different kinds of animals have different kinds of energy, or is it really just like an individual? Like,
It's a bit of both. So, wild animals definitely have a different energy than domesticated animals
mm-hmm.
because they have to be on guard all the time.
Yeah.
And we have had a wild deer um, wandered with our cows of all things, and they'd lick her, and we'd call her for food, but she's jumped out of the property because it was breeding season. She found a better deal.
Yeah.
And yeah, but she was always that little bit standoffish, even though
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't want to domesticate her either, just in
Yeah.
case. And then you'll have the my biggest rooster is the biggest sook. And then my littlest rooster picks on him, and so we have to like have that talk when no one fights here, and you can tell they have attitude.
Yeah.
Um, so it is very individual, but then you're looking at domesticated and wild too.
Yeah.
So it can depend.
Yeah.
And you can have animals that don't act like, like some cats are more dog-like.
Mm.
They
Mm-hmm.
chase things, and then you've got more dogs. Like one of my dogs, we swear he's a cat because he'll like try and jump up on the table, and
Yeah.
you're like, where does this come from? So it is very individual.
Okay. Cool. So, like,
Yeah.
does a bird have a completely different energy than a mammal, or it's really just like, this duck is this duck and that cat is that cat?
Pretty much. I wouldn't. It's actually interesting because that's a very good question actually, because some people may feel difference between a dog and a cat, but I kind of look at their spirit and their soul and
Mm-hmm.
an individual.
Individual, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
for
because
me,
anybody that's ever had a pet knows that they have their own personalities and they're all different. So yeah,
yeah,
it's just like talking to, human spirits. They're all different. They have their own
yeah,
personalities.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So yeah, but I love them obviously.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So I have a question about. So I know that you've done, I guess like human mediumship, like doing
Mhm,
classes, and learning with Nikeza and stuff like that.
mhm.
My question is the communication that you do with animals, is it similar in the way you receive messages from communicating
Mhm.
with the animal and communicating with those on the other side?
Yep. Another good question. So basically, it's the same. it's the same sort of techniques. But for me, I just like get a human and I'm like, what? Like, it's like there's this big block. And then with an animal, like this morning when the peahen was calling her baby, like I could feel her emotion. And because I'm an animal empath too, not
Mm-hmm.
really a human empath. So when people sounds bad, God, I sound terrible. When it like people are in pain, I'm like, oh, that sucks. But
Yeah.
when it's an animal,
Mm-hmm.
so it's kind of like the same techniques, but I feel like some people are just, like how some people are better at mediums, or psychic, or some
Mm-hmm.
people can do both. Like everyone's a bit different. I just feel like I just get better information with animals. It just flows freely, and I really
Mhm.
have to work at humans, so I just kind of avoid them, to be honest. Path
when
of
we
least
were
resistance.
when we were talking about this the other day, you were saying that animals don't communicate in words.
Mm.
They communicate with images and feelings.
So a lot of I can get like two-way conversations with
Mm-hmm.
with them, but a lot of them, a lot of what you do get from animals, you're getting their emotion and their feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to translate that into words to the owner. And sometimes, like before when I went meh, like how do you
Yeah.
like if I'm getting that feeling off someone, sometimes it's difficult to relay that because I'm like I know exactly what you mean, I feel
Mm-hmm.
it. But then you do get little McChatties that just want to like McChat, and
Yeah.
you're like, whoa. Um, and then I've had a cat that's literally said to me, "You're an animal empath. You can feel it," and would not say one word to me. And I'm like,
Oh, what an
"Shit."
asshole.
So it
Of
really
course it
just
was a
depends.
cat. Had to be a cat. Yes.
Mhm.
Damn cats.
Yeah. So
I was just about to
you are.
say, yeah, we have a newer addition to our family. I think Jenny talked to you about her, but
Yeah.
Yep.
if I would imagine that would be her response right now is meh.
Yeah.
She's a very meh cat right now. So we'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
So I remember we were talking too, and sometimes your new editions can act like your past editions,
Yes, that
and
was
often,
so
mm,
interesting because I had realized that as cats were passing and we had other cats, that the cat that was living would pick up the traits of the cat that was gone. And then so I of course had asked Nicole because I knew she would know the answer. So I'm gonna let it
mhm.
Nicole tell you the answer.
Well, and real quick, just so people, we don't have like lots of cats dying in our house. We
Over
had a
time. Over
we had
time.
a cat for a
time.
very long time, and he finally passed. And we took a cat from my parents who had a lot of cats, and they needed to get rid of one, and we had one that was already older that passed. So we had two cats kind of die within a year, roughly, of each other, a
Mm-hmm.
year or something like that. And then we waited a little while, and we got a new kitten. So
Yeah.
that's where we're at with our cats right
You're not a hoarder. You're not like the person from The
No.
Simpsons who have a cat.
now. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
all right.
So before you
If I don't
tell
like all these cats die,
No, it was over time. So before you give your answer,
Yep.
Salty Frog said,
Yep.
I get that sometimes. I was doing Reiki on a cat last year and had this extreme urge to eat grass.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Because you pick up
Uh,
on
yeah,
and their emotions and what you want and what they
yeah,
want, and yeah, that makes sense to
yeah.
me because you
Salty, please
always
tell
want
me
to.
that you didn't eat the grass.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Oh,
don't,
please
don't.
tell me you did eat the
That you
grass.
did
Well,
eat the grass.
well, we'll wait to see.
Okay, Nicole,
Oh dear.
tell us the answer to why animals act like deceased animals.
Okay, so they can even do this when you've had them together in the same household. So say you have two animals and one passes, and then a little while later, this cat that's left in this world starts acting like this one that has passed.
Yeah.
And or like what you've had one or two animals that have passed, and then you get a new one, and all of a sudden they're acting like the ones that you
Mm-hmm.
had previously. But often they're alive at the same time, just not in your house as well. That's the other thing. You're like, how could that cat act like that one? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But with cats, because they can actually see spirit, because they see the high frequencies, so they see spirit easily. Um, often your past pet will come back and help the new pets settle in. And it's kind
Mm.
of like they're training them and like, okay, so you can do this and you can't do this. And so they'll, like you said, they sometimes pick up on the bad habits
Yeah, that's what
because they
she
can get
did.
away with it. Yeah. Because they got away with it. So it's kind of like they're
Yeah.
giving a little pep
Yeah.
talk. I'm like, okay, so you can do this
Yeah.
and you can do that. And then she really loves this, but you really don't love this. Um, they can train the new pets of the way the house works
Yeah.
basically. And I've had this with my cow, a few cows. But one cow, Samuel, was a baby when Emma was an adult, Emma the cow, and Emma passed away. She got bitten by a brown snake and passed
My
away.
goodness.
Oh, it was horrendous after everything we went through. Then a
Yeah.
brown takes her out. Like, oh, but her purpose was,
Yes.
it was
Yes.
up.
Mm-hmm.
And not long after she had passed, Samuel started doing this. I've got 6 cows at the moment. None of them act like this. And she did this particular head flip at the back when she wanted you to like rub her belly. She's very
Mm-hmm.
demanding. She used to come in the house as well, Emma. So like Emma had like she was like a dog. There
Yeah.
you go. There's an example. She was toilet trained. She'd go outside, but when she wanted a hug in a particular place or a rub, she would just it was just the weirdest thing, and only she did it. And then we were out in the paddock, and Samuel did it, and it was just like, oh, Emma's here.
Yeah.
And so it's just a way of them, the old pets, because
Mm-hmm.
there's no difference. They can
But
feel the spirit and the
that's a
attachment.
really cute thing for the animal to do. Ours is doing something
Yeah.
awful.
Well, I will say, if you remember, this is the second time we've had that happen because
Mm-hmm.
we had a cat named Odin and a cat named Bjorn that were
Yes.
basically brothers. And when Bjorn would always go through at night and like cry through the house, like wanting Odin to come play with him.
Mm-hmm.
And Odin was more of a fuddy-duddy. He wouldn't do so. Anyway, Bjorn passed away, and then shortly after that,
Odin
Odin
started
would
doing
go
that.
through the house and he would start crying for Bjorn to come play with him, which
Yeah.
he had never done
Mhm.
before.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have the thing with Runa doing the eating the bread and
Eating
the
bread.
donuts and stuff like that.
She wants to eat all the bread.
That Freya did. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
that's been.
But after I talked to you the other day, I started talking to the new cat like she was the old cat because I figured she is here. Freya, our old cat, is here. And I told her, Runa doesn't need to eat the bread. So maybe if we keep telling her, no, she doesn't need to eat the bread, maybe it'll work. I don't know.
Give them an alternative, because if you take something away, you need to replace it with something. Because
Okay.
just like as humans too, people take stuff off us and
Yeah.
be, oh, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like you need to have it, make it a positive. So instead of, and give them tell them what you want them to do, because as you're explaining it to them, so when you were saying things like don't eat the bread, because animals don't really understand the concept of don't, but
Mm-hmm.
what you're thinking in your mind is you seeing a cat eat the bread, whether we know we're doing it or not. um, so then the cats are like, oh cool, I can eat the bread because mum's just like, because they tap into here more than what they hear here.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
if you take like, okay, this is my bread, I'm gonna eat this. This is your whatever you want them to eat or they're allowed to
Mm-hmm.
eat. You have to like tell them, in you eat this. I want you to eat this, and this
Okay.
is mine. And you have to
Yes.
always speak in the positive and the instruction, um, and thank them for doing it, even if they're not doing it. Because when you're speaking the words, "Oh, thank you for eating the correct meal and leaving mine alone," um, you're creating that sort of run through in your mind. And because animals are telepathic, they're like, oh, cool. And like they'll eventually get the instruction, oh, okay, I'm meant to be doing this. Um, but if our mind and our words don't match up,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to go with your mind because they're seeing what you're
Yes.
thinking, basically.
Yeah.
And that's what it works with deaf dogs, because I have 2 deaf dogs, so you can give instructions without saying it, and they know. They'll always. And horses is probably why you love horses too. If
Yes.
you have trouble with horses, if they're not doing a jump, or they're not riding properly, you can actually stop, calm yourself, and say to the horse, even if you don't say the words, in your mind, this is where we're going, this is what I want you to do, and this is what I expect, and make it a lovely, happy feeling.
Yeah.
And then feel like you're sending the message to them. A horse will always get the information. Whether they choose to do it or not is up to them. But the animal will always get it because animals are telepathic and that's how they survive in the wild. So it's like, for us, we have to tune in, but for them, they're there. So,
Yeah, that was
you can
something
use
you had talked about on when you were on Kristen and Kimmy's show, Sensing Spirit, about the animals don't understand no. And I had never heard that before until you said that. And I was like, yes. And though, even though I knew it from when I watched on the show, I still, it's like having to reprogram your own brain to say the positive instead of the negative.
Oh, and
Yeah.
I still don't get it right. When, like, even just recently, my husband and I were like, okay, we're going to watch what we're saying to our animals. And we picked each other up the whole day. And I was like, you just said don't do that for what you say. And we're like, damn it. So to actually retrain your brain
Yeah.
can be difficult.
Yes.
So instead of don't jump up, you like pause on the floor. Because pause on the
Yes.
floor is an instruction and you see it.
I was on the
Whereas
floor.
don't jump up. You're seeing them jump up. And they're
Jump
like,
up,
cool, I
yeah.
can jump up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yes.
it
Yes.
can be difficult. I feel you.
Yeah. I have been saying to her, stay on the floor. Stay on the floor. Stay on the floor.
Perfect.
So I'm changing that one. Now if we can get to the bread part.
She needs to know the bread is yours.
This is my bread.
Streak through the living room with a bag of chips in her mouth.
Yeah.
Oh,
She got my bagels the other day. She almost became an outside cat.
see, that'd be terrible because I'd find it so funny they wouldn't listen. And then my husband would like, get the cat.
Yeah. Those are my bagels.
Yeah, I love animals with a bit of, spice to them, a little bit of, uniqueness. So I kind of let that stuff go. But if she's taking your bagels through the living room and like you want bagels, give her an alternative and say, you can take this all you want, but these are mine.
I did not get a bagel the next morning. It was very sad.
Damn, that's not cool. She needs to know, and that makes you sad, and she needs to know why.
Yes.
And
I will have a heart-to-heart with her about how sad she made me that I didn't get a bagel.
Yeah.
So the other cool thing that you were talking about the other day when we met up, that has also to do with deceased and living pets, where you were talking about overlays.
Yep.
Explain what that is.
Okay, so I call it overlays. I don't know what anyone else calls it. It's just because how I see it, basically. So the other day, and you'll find this with humans as well. You could be walking down the street and all of a sudden you'll be looking at someone and you're like, oh my God. And you swear you'll see a past person walking the street towards you, and then you'll blink and then you'll look at the person and it's completely different. Like even the face shape is completely different. And just before I spoke to you earlier this week, I was looking outside and one of my sheep, Annie, was just walking down the hill. And I went, oh my God, Daphne. And now Daphne has been dead for a while.
Yeah.
Her jaw is more square. And I'm just like, oh my God, Daphne. And it's just a way of them saying, like letting you know that they're okay. And you've just had that moment where they can slip in basically to say, I'm here, I'm okay. They're not possessing. They're just that, like, it's just kind of like I see it as an overlay, and they just have the opportunity where that animal or that person has allowed a spirit without, whether maybe they don't know it, some humans, but a lot of mediums can be open and they should probably be shut. But they're not possessing them or anything like that. It's just like a slight overlay where that spirit has the opportunity to come through, and so you can see them.
Yeah.
And then it's like gone, and then your brain will kick in like, oh, that didn't happen, because our brain is there to protect us. And but yeah, you can actually see that. So you could be goodness knows where, and you could see a past pet of yours and you'd be like, did that just happen? And I can tell you it did just happen.
It's really
and it's there where it's
happening.
from. Yeah, I'm okay, and quite possibly you just needed to hear from that person or that pet at that particular time, and it was just them saying, you're okay.
That's
I'm
really
here,
cool.
I'm okay, everything's good. Yeah.
Yeah, with
So
our
I love that.
our trance practicing, we've started seeing that happen, that like the person's face will start to change just ever so slightly. Like
Yeah.
they'll look a little more masculine, or their jaws start looking different, or like the
Mm.
shadows on their face start changing, and like, yeah, it's really cool. Interesting.
And it's really happening.
Yeah, it's really happening.
You're not making this up.
No,
Like,
no.
so cool. I
Yeah.
love it. But yeah, I love overlays because it will happen when you least expect it, which I love as well.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, wow, oh, okay, and it kind of like can pick you up for that day.
Mm-hmm.
So spirit
That's
always
cool.
knows.
Yeah, they do. Salty wanted to let us know that she didn't eat the grass, so that's good.
Oh damn! I'm so disappointed.
She just figured out that the cat had stomach issues. The grass made her
Yeah.
realize the cat had stomach
There you
issues.
go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's
And
good.
some grass tastes differently according to some horses. I did not know that. I don't eat it.
I can
There you
see
go.
that, yeah.
Oh,
Where
yeah,
it's
yeah,
growing and kind of soil and weather, and yeah, I could totally see that.
Even the species of grass.
Grass,
Yeah.
different grasses, yep.
Yeah, I thought that was weird. I'm like, why is this horse telling me it likes the grass over here because it tastes sweeter? I'm like, just grass?
No.
Oh.
Mm-mm.
So there you go.
That was the sweet grass.
So, yeah, I like it. Oh yeah.
Okay, so let me see. I have lots
Okay.
more questions.
Oh, okay.
What is the strangest animal you've ever communicated with?
Oh, okay. So I've had a terrapin, and I'm like, what the F is a terrapin? And then she sent me photos, like a little turtle. And then in Japan, there was a couple of hamsters. Now, I've never seen a hamster in real life, well, real life, but like
Yeah.
in Australia where I am.
Mhm.
So for me, that was crazy because I'm like, I'm seeing all this enormous amount of energy like coming at me, and described a few things, and
Yeah.
can say, yeah, that happened. And the creepiest thing is, and it's really sad to admit that ever since I was little, I've been scared of snakes.
Yeah.
Um, but we had a snake in our chook pen years ago, and it was in there, and I was in there with it saying, look, we're not going to hurt you. We don't want to hurt you. We understand you're just here for food, but we are going to relocate you because you can't eat my chickens. And I swear this snake that was facing this way just turned its head and looked dead
Oh.
straight at me. I'm like, I'm out. So, and then like my husband picked it up,
Yeah.
whatnot. But then also I know of I had a snake come to me once, and it was
Wow.
telling me how sad it was in its environment. It must have been kept in a large fish tank, and it was
Mm.
just the sadness that came over me, and I felt so sorry for the snake because I'm like, oh my god, you have no enrichment. You're basically just there for entertainment, and you're bored, and
Yeah.
it's a sad, sad existence. And so, all my legs going all goosebumpy. Um, so they're probably the weirdest that I can think of on the spot. But that one actually made me sad because I'm like, that's normally I would sort of give them a wide berth, like, no, I'm
Yeah.
good. But yeah, that snake was really upset.
Oh.
The one in the chook pen never came back. What else have I? Birds, wild birds.
What happened with the
Yeah.
terrapin? What was that like? Talking to a turtley thing.
That was weird because it wasn't eating, and
Oh.
I was like, because you assume the mouth, and it did have mouth ulcers, but I was feeling it was more my kidneys were hurting when I was talking to
Mm.
it, and I didn't know at the time that apparently the mouth ulcers are like a result of the kidney problems,
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm.
and I had no idea, and I'm like, um, but it sort of got worse, and she did actually end up having to put it down. But
Oh.
it was her pet for years. Like it wasn't like a young one; it was like 20 kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it was heartbreaking for her to have to do that.
Wow.
And then I was like, oh, but yeah, I had no idea that's what was causing it. And unless you get a vet that really knows about other animals,
Mm-hmm.
um, like not every vet over here knows a lot about chickens or those
Yeah.
sorts of things. We're very lucky; we have an amazing vet. Um, but yeah, so you have to sometimes too. You have to follow your gut too. If you're in a vet and you're thinking, I don't think this is the right, get a second
Mm-hmm.
opinion
Yeah.
because they may just not know enough about it to
Hmm.
get a
What
diagnosis.
what the hell is happening over there, Nicole? Your animals are going
Sorry.
crazy.
Did I mention I have geese?
Oh, it's the geese.
The geese. I think I forgot about them actually when I was like rattling them off.
Maybe that's why they
Maverick,
came over, to let you know. Hey, you
yeah,
forgot to
like,
mention
woman,
us.
how dare you? Maverick will chase people. So yeah, no, but they've actually a lot. We have someone. Let me start again. We have someone, my husband's friends over, and so they're very good watchdogs. So if you move slightly, they'll let you know. And yeah, if they don't know you, and if you show fear, they will chase you.
Oh,
Animals can
goodness.
feel fear.
Yeah. Geese. So do you guys not have hamsters as pets in Australia?
I don't know if we have hamsters in Australia. Like,
Well, I don't even know if we have
maybe
hamsters in
bears.
America, but if we get them from somewhere.
It's a
I
popular.
d-
Yeah. And it
where
never
I
ends
am.
well. It never ends well, right? Like I don't know.
No.
Like I had a hamster. I probably had a couple hamsters when I was a little kid, but I don't know anyone's hamster stories that ever come to a
No.
good.
Mine disappeared and we
Mm.
never found it. We never found it
And,
living or deceased. It's just
oh,
gone.
probably a bird. Um, we have guinea pigs, so that's probably our equivalent to
Yeah.
Yeah.
hamsters here. They generally have a lot of teeth issues. The guinea pigs, so they don't get enough hay.
Mm.
Um,
Oh yeah,
so
because their
yeah,
teeth, are they the kind of like rodent that their teeth keeps growing?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
And so if they don't have that to grind them down, a lot of guinea pigs in Australia can have teeth issues.
Hmm.
I've actually dealt with a bit of an anxious guinea pig over in the UK. But in Queensland, where I am, it's illegal to own rabbits. We're the only
Really?
state in the country we can't own rabbits. Yeah,
Why
and
is
it's
that?
huge fines because the rabbits burrow in the ground.
Oh,
And
okay.
this is what I've been told. I don't really know. But I just know it's illegal. And if you get caught, it's like a $30,000 fine. Like
Mm.
it's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
But then you go over you go over the border, which is really not far from where I live. Totally fine. I don't know.
Weird.
We seem very strict here with what animals we can have.
Yeah.
As you know, I'd have camels and like all sorts if I could. But
Frosty said she has 2 Australian dumpy frogs, or what we call
frogs!
white tree frogs over here. Yes, and I've seen her frogs, and they are absolutely adorable. Like, I don't think there are cuter frogs ever than whatever kind of frogs those are.
Are they the ones that you posted not long ago? And they're like 10 years old.
Yes,
Like they were
those were the
really
pictures.
old. Yeah. Oh, they
Yeah,
were beautiful.
they
Oh,
are.
do they have personalities?
Oh, it was their birthday
Okay.
last week. They turned 10 last week.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're incredibly smart because we've had green tree frogs that you can put them, you know, over there in the swamp area kind of thing, and they'll come back the next day to the same spot. They're very sometimes can be very stubborn and know what they like.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's
but
cool.
they're pretty cute animals.
Yeah, those tree frogs are
They're also
adorable.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No cuter frogs than those frogs.
Yeah, they are pretty cute.
All right.
I love animals.
Let's see.
What other questions do you have?
What do you get contacted most about being an animal communicator?
Generally, your cats and your dogs.
Yeah.
Is because that's the main pet that most people have.
Is it
So
usually
it makes
like
sense.
they're missing or there's something wrong with them?
It can be a bit of both. So sometimes they're missing, but then sometimes they're past as well. Some past pets because people
So
just
people
want to
want
know
to
that
talk
they're
to them.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's devastating. And I know once they're in spirit, they're totally fine.
Yeah.
But then as an owner, when you lose a pet, you're devastated.
Yes.
So I do get a lot of past pets, and then sometimes I'll get behavior problems. But then sometimes the animals don't think their behavior's fine. Like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
do you mean I can't do that? They just don't get it, and that's just a miscommunication.
Yeah.
So it can be a lot. But you go through waves. Do you find this too with your mediumship? Like you'll go through waves and it's be like all missing pets, and then all dead pets, and then like it's sort of
Yeah, I can see that.
little bunches.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
recently I had a lot of missing pets come through, and then it was a lot of past pets come through.
Cool.
So yeah, just depends what season I'm in, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Salty said about her frogs that she's biased, but she agrees they're the cutest frogs ever.
I
Okay.
love that. See, over here, you need a reptile license to have any sort of reptile.
Really?
Like, there's a lot of restrictions on everything.
That's so weird. No rabbits.
Yeah.
And have a license
No
for
rabbits.
reptiles. Weird.
Yeah.
So here's a question. So when we're working with people, it's super easy to verify information because you just get them to tell you the information. But if you're if you're talking to a missing dog, how do you verify your information, like, for yourself?
It can be tricky because with missing pets, generally they're on the run. Because you've got two types. You've got a pet that's missing on its own accord,
Mm-hmm.
or you've got a lost pet that is truly lost. And so it depends. Like, you can get information of, like, I'm seeing this, or I'm seeing a shop in the distance and I'm seeing these cars, or and then sometimes I'll give you an example. I sort of said, I'm seeing like a shop not too far, and like there's cars coming and going constantly from the animal's perspective, and then there was like a service station there, which I didn't know. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
going off what the animal tells me. Another one, I was like, I can smell incense. Why am I smelling incense? Like a hippie shop incense.
Yeah.
Then it turns out there was like a crystal store, like a kilometer away from the home,
Mm.
and so it was, it was sort of around that area. But then, they can get up and move at any time.
Yeah.
So you just have to go on how they're feeling, what they're seeing, and sometimes you can see, I don't know, like a bridge, or um, a building, or it just
So a lot of
depends on the
times it's
information.
like locational things that help verify
Yeah,
the information.
yeah, because a pet is not trained to look for a street sign. You can't
No,
go,
yeah.
can you give me the coordinates on a map, or what
Yeah.
street are you in? Because they're like, what does that
Yeah.
mean? Because they don't look up, they look down, and life looks differently from where they are.
Oh,
Cats
yeah.
could go down a sewer, they could be looking at the house, they could be across the road looking at your house. So yeah,
That's
it's just,
exactly where the cat is. The damn cat is in
Yeah.
the sewer looking at the house, and you're wondering,
Yeah.
where is this cat?
I have actually had that too. And I'm like, just leave your garage door open a little bit and leave some food, and then it came back. Yeah, but missing pet cases can be, an animal communicator cannot guarantee that your missing pet will come home, because there's so many different variables. Like,
Yeah.
the cat may not want to come home. Cat. It's always cat.
The cat might not
may
want to
not.
come home.
Yeah, they're the ones with the attitude mainly. And sometimes cats, once their job is done in a certain home, they'll move on to another home.
Mm.
With, like, dogs, someone could have the dog and the dog doesn't have the opportunity to get home, but may want to get home.
Yeah.
And so I can describe the inside of a house, but which house is it?
Yeah. That doesn't
So,
help any, yeah.
and no, I've had a cat where they thought it was dead, and a few communicators have said it was dead, and the cat was actually in Scotland. And I'm like, I can see this cat inside. It's up high. There's a man. It's got a blue shirt. There's like an emblem. I can't actually read it's too fine for me to read, and it's trapped inside and it can't get out. But they think they're doing the right thing, and so we devised this plan with the cat. I'm like, okay, the minute that door opens with one shot, you go, like, you go, and I had to send it healing to calm it down, to focus on what it had to do, and that cat turned up the next day.
Wow.
And that was a really good, that's a cool story,
That's
obviously. But then
cool.
doesn't always happen. Like,
Yeah.
you could do all the right things and the cat could be too scared to move, or it doesn't get an opportunity to leave, or, like, it's it's
Or
just not a
it doesn't
guarantee
want
because
to.
spirit's not a guarantee. Right. Or it could change its mind at any
Yeah.
time, or it could just walk on home. Like,
Yeah.
I had a chicken missing for 8 months. I wasn't concerned about it. It's really weird, because this morning I was really concerned, but with Noodle, I'm like, nah, Noodle's fine. Noodle's like living, we joke. Noodle living on the 1,000 acres behind us, living a double life. We're just never concerned about her. And then 8 months later,
She
she
came
turns
back.
up in her pen.
Oh,
And nothing
so
had happened.
weird.
My husband, like, oh my God, Noodle's home. She stayed home ever since. She just wanted an adventure. She was
Yeah.
missing, not lost. Difference.
My parents have random chickens show up in their yard, just like all the time. And one of them stayed for like, I don't know, at least a month. And then it just went back home, wherever that was.
Yeah. And it's good too they don't restrict them because they allow that to happen as well. And it'll happen. I see my roosters are going on. I'm sorry.
Because we're talking about chickens again, that's why.
Yeah, and Noodle. They like Noodle. She's popular.
All right, so here's a whole nother topic about animal spirits. We were in one of our medium practices recently, we were talking about people reincarnating as animals. Have you ever had any instance where you think that the spirit might have also been a human at some point?
I haven't had that myself.
Yeah.
But I have had when I've been speaking to a cat. This cat's. And I remember saying to the owner, this cat feels like I'm talking to a human. I mean, and this actually, I think this was a living cat. But they can come across as humans. So I haven't personally come across that.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, to be brutally honest, anything's possible in spirit.
Yeah, definitely.
Us in this earthly environment can actually fully grasp like I think we get so much like this little bit of spirit, but there's just so much more that can happen. And I feel like there's animals on the other side that we haven't even seen. And you know, I just think anything is possible.
Yeah.
Like we can't be closed-minded. And yeah, because I've even read stories with was August Goforth with his book called what's it called, The Risen, and it's about how his partner passed, and they wrote a book together. He's the medium, and Tim's the past person, and when he was dying, he was describing these like elephant like creature humanoid things that he was seeing.
Oh wow.
And then when he just when he was, because he was sort of coming in and out of spirit as he was passing, and then just eventually went to spirit. And I think August may have seen them as well. But yeah, that he was describing these animal human things that we just couldn't really think of.
They exist.
So
they exist in the spirit realm. That's pretty neat.
Anything's possible.
Thank you, Frosty and Sylvie, for contributing to the 30-minute tarot video giveaway. We're getting really close, and we should be at 90-some% now for the next giveaway video. Awesome.
Yeah, we're at 88%.
Cool.
Close.
So Nicole, do you think that, same kind of question, I guess, do you think that animals come back as well? Their spirits come back and live another animal life?
I think so. What I've seen with what I do with the animals, I see them more coming back to help animals. Because when I see all my dead animals, I shouldn't say dead, but death doesn't really affect me. I'm like, well, you know, I see them individually. And even though they act like past pets, and I've got a goat at the moment, and I know Ava, my past goat, has sent her to me because she has very much Ava qualities, but slightly different. So I feel like it's more of they come back to help than come back again. But that being said, anything is possible in spirit. So, you know, and what I say to people that ask me that question is, if you're a mother that was separated from your child and you saw them later on in life, you would recognize that child regardless. Because, you know, you see these stories where the children were kidnapped, but the mother still recognized that child. I feel like if that happened to you, you would recognize them. So I don't like to say definitely.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to, like, if you've had that experience, you would recognize it.
Yes, very true.
Yeah.
It also seems like with the overlaying situation and the taking on the other characteristics of it, kind of just seems like sometimes they're all just blending together. Like the spirits are just coming and going, and it's probably, I mean, really, truly, it's probably happening with us too. We're just not nearly as aware of it because, you know, we're humans and we don't realize much anything.
This body, this, this, what is it called, vehicle
Yeah.
in here
really makes
stops
things
a lot.
difficult. Yep.
It really does.
It does.
So yeah, it's, I don't know. I feel like I want to leave some. Oh, we're all gonna have surprises when we pass, but I want to see all these animals coming towards
Yeah.
me when I pass. Forget about the humans. But yeah, I mean, we're all connected, aren't we, with
Yep.
everything? So
Yeah.
it's easy to all blend and merge.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, especially for all essentially the same energy, just split off into all these billions of little bits. Yep.
Can you imagine, like, when we do pass, what we are gonna see, and
Yeah.
how many people, and like it's gonna be awesome. Not that I
Yeah.
want to pass anytime soon. I've got
No,
stuff to do on
when
this
it
earth.
happens, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Salty
Yeah, I
also
do think.
contributed to the
Yep.
30-minute Terra Vita giveaway. Thank you. Oh, it looks like Salty may have a question. Okay, I was crossing spirits over last month that were stuck in the middle world and had a dog come to me to get passed over. This was the first one for me because I thought they just automatically went to the light. Have you had that happen before?
Yeah, so people do feel that animals just cross. But then when you've got an animal that has been, let's say they were missing, they got hit by a car, they may not know that they're in spirit and they act as if they're still here. There's a really well-known medium in Australia called Katerina Legato, and she crosses over animals all the time. So, but we're talking more chickens that have been slaughtered in slaughterhouses, those types of animals, because she's actually seen animals attached to little pieces of meat of their body because it's so horrific, their death. They're kind of stuck. So that doesn't surprise me. Yes, you can. It's
Weren't
not as, sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just saying Little Wing. I think Little Wing. We were talking about this last night. Actually, I didn't. Sorry about interrupting,
Oh, no,
but
no, go.
yeah, yeah.
Please do,
No,
because I'll keep waffling.
no. You can keep going. I just wanted to bring up that what you were talking about. We were discussing last night actually, so it's pretty interesting.
Oh, okay, cool.
Being
I
attached
even
to the meat. Yeah.
yes, yeah, and so Katerina has seen them like devastated and attached, and I have seen a bear, which I find interesting because I don't know if we have bears in Australia, but I was like connected to the animals, wanted an animal to come through that they wanted to get their story out, and I saw this bear, and this bear, it was like they were holding its head on a platter. And I was like, surely they're not eating you. And I contacted my friend in the US. I can't remember. I was gonna actually find out where she lives, but
I can take some
remember.
guesses.
Oh, okay, yeah. And she's like, yeah, they eat whatever.
Oh my
Basically, where you
god.
start. Yeah, and so this bear was just like looking at these humans eating its body. So it was not in a happy place. So
That's
yeah,
awful.
they can need help crossing over. The majority of pets that are domesticated don't, because they're loved. They generally either get
Yeah.
put down, like it's not. But yeah,
It's like,
it
I
is a
guess,
thing.
in a human life, if it ends tragically, the same thing can happen. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because we're a soul, a spirit.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. That doesn't sound that much different than what we talk about with humans. When I talk to Jenny about this all the time, like when she's talking to someone that wants to communicate with me and they're talking about the other side and how great that it can be and they're happy and they're surrounded by all these people, and then as we were talking about earlier, and then we're watching our our ghost shows, and you have all these spirits that seem to be kind of stuck, and it's going, well, if the afterlife is so great and we can't wait to get there and there's all this stuff going on, then that's not the afterlife I want, to feel like you're stuck in this repeating like this personal hell or whatever you lived during your life. So I think that's one of the questions I have in general, like trying to learn more about this stuff, is why does that happen?
Yeah.
Maybe the afterlife isn't the sunshine and lollipops that we just assume that it will be. Maybe I don't know.
So we have
Yeah,
we have a question, and it was when we were talking about the traumatic animals passing. Someone asked, I'm going to say their name wrong. Am Aisha asked, can that animal hurt someone? So I think are you asking, like, can the spirit animal hurt someone? Like a ghost animal? Like a human ghost might sometimes? Have you ever had that kind of happen?
I haven't had an animal like want to hurt anyone, like an animal
Yeah.
spirit want to hurt anyone. I do have, sorry, the roosters are literally out my window.
Hi,
I do
Rooster.
have, yeah, well, there's a few. I do have a goat though in spirit, a white goat, and he laughs and he laughs because he's like, if people, he showed me what looks like little dreams or like little invitations sometimes, and he said sometimes people will see a white goat in their dreams or they'll see a white goat spirit animal, and he laughs because he's like, yeah, that's me. Obviously not all of them,
Yeah.
but he laughs because he was so curious. But I have heard of people that can and spirits that shapeshift that can present
Mm.
as an animal that wants to harm you. But I
Oh.
haven't had an animal that actually wants to harm you because the way I see it, they're here for our they're teaching I
Yeah.
think they're more highly evolved than we are. But yeah, I would be more inclined to think that was more of a shape-shifting
Yeah.
spirit. If that's what you believe in, I'm not here to
Yeah.
change anyone's belief.
Because, yeah, like you were saying at the beginning of the show, that the animals are really about love and teaching and
Yeah.
having a good time, it sounds like. Yeah.
I mean, in their natural environment, you don't really get anxious animals. It's more of a human intervention type thing
Mm-hmm.
because they're, out of their natural environment. Not saying that we shouldn't have cats and dogs because, I'm out because I have dogs. Um, but yeah, like they know what balance is, they know what harmony is. They don't tend to hold grudges. They can be fearful of situations because
Yeah.
they know it's harmful, but they just have that level of forgiveness and trust that we just humans just can't seem to master.
Yeah, I mean, I guess anytime really that an animal attacks, even a living one, it's usually out of fear.
It's fear-based a lot
Yeah.
of the times,
Mm-hmm.
or they've been taught to do that because they want to
Yes.
please their master. and
Yeah.
and and they'll because they once you get that trust, they'll do anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it can, yeah, or they're fearful that if
Yes.
they don't do it, they're gonna, it's gonna be worse. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Well, thank you, Aisha. I'm probably saying your name totally wrong. And Luminance, both of you for the follows. And Southern Writers here now. Hello. And Rose Flowers here. Oh my God. Everybody's coming in now. This is wonderful. Wonderful. Do you guys have any questions for Nicole? Animal communication questions? Throw them in the chat if you do.
And we have Medium Jenny put it in the chat earlier, but check out connecttoanimals.com.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
That's Nicole's website.
And
she's also on Facebook. You can find her through Facebook, like Connect to Animals. Same thing.
and I'm in the future.
And she's in the future because it's Monday. It's
Yeah.
Monday
I'll tell you
for
what's gonna
Nicole.
happen tomorrow.
I'll let you know. I'll report back.
So I wanted to share my favorite story from the Cindy Kaza classes. It's a story about Nicole. Because one day we're just having our class and we're doing our practices and whatever, and sometimes we have a little minute here and there to just talk, and all of a sudden Nicole says, so my duck just showed up and he says, hey, I'm dead. And like I just couldn't, I was like, what just happened? Like, what is she talking about? And then she told us she went out and she found his corpse and he was coming to tell her that he passed away. It was just, it's my favorite story. It's my favorite medium class story.
It's funny because sometimes you don't get, because animals are always, especially your animals, always in communication with you.
Yeah.
And it was just Shadow, and he was so
It's like
fine about it.
nonchalantly. Yeah. Hey.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
He's like,
Hey, I'm dead.
hey, I'm dead. I'm like, okay. I'm gonna find you.
Oh my God.
I knew he was missing.
Yeah.
And because despite the animals I have, I do know which ones are which,
Mhm.
and 'cause, but yeah, Shadow. That was his name. Shadow turned
Shadow.
up and like, hey, I'm dead. I was
How
like,
did he
"Okay."
die? How did he die?
Oh, I was a fox got him,
Oh, that's right. You told me that the
and
other day. The fox got
yeah,
him. Poor Shadow.
and that was the first time we've ever had a problem like with the fox because
The
we've spent a
fox.
lot of money on our fencing, and it's hard too because you don't want to be upset at the fox because they're just doing what the fox does,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and but can you go pick on someone else's stuff? Like
Yeah.
everyone would do. But yeah, Shadow. That was
Poor
funny because I'd
Shadow.
forgotten about that.
It was
So
my favorite, one of my favorite moments from any of the medium classes. It was just so random. There's
weird
a
girl with
duck.
a dead
What?
duck.
A duck?
See, that might be weird for a person to
Yeah.
speak to a duck too.
Yeah.
That can be a weird animal, I guess. Yeah, Shadow.
I
He's cool.
loved it.
He's fine.
I loved it.
Yeah.
The duck
Um,
story. Thank you, Luminous and Aisha, for contributing to the 30-minute tarot video giveaway. You guys must be here together because you came in together, you followed together, and now you're contributing together. That's wonderful.
If you yeah, and if we're pronouncing that wrong, Amisha, Amisha is what I'm. So
I
if
can't say
there's
anything
a better way to
correctly.
pronounce it, let us know.
I say nothing correctly.
Try to get them right.
Yeah. I think
yeah.
that I might have asked you all my questions.
Oh,
This is terrible.
no, that's okay. I mean, it's a weird thing because I think a lot of the times, humans with mediums and psychics, like it's a lot more accepted. But then when you go into the animals, it's kind of like, ooh, like it's not as accepted as I thought it would have been, to be honest.
Really?
And
Well,
yeah,
we we were talking to some of our friends who were in chat tonight. I was last night, Boomby and Little Wing, and we were, I told them, that you were going to be on the show tonight, and it should be, I was excited, and this would be a really interesting show. Um, but it brings some interesting questions, right? Even like we got on a conversation about diet, and we had
hmm
talked about like veganism and vegetarianism and pescatarians and I'm a meat eater, so I was like,
hmm
and we were talking about this whole thing about the wood wide web. I don't know if you've heard about this or not, but studies are being done by botanists and scientists,
hmm
biologists, about plants communicating,
hmm
um,
yeah.
and what kind of revelations you have there if we also find out that the plant world is uh, conscious and
hmm
communicating and has emotions and pain.
hmm
So
Some
just kind of
some
just
people
Throw
will,
that out there.
yeah.
implications of these things.
Some
Yeah.
people will just starve to death then because they
Yeah.
won't want to hurt the carrots or something either.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've asked Spirit too about that too, because I'm like, what the hell am I going to eat then?
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like what? So they've actually done studies with plants and trees, and they found that trees can actually recognize their children and their siblings, and when they die, they can send their energy out through to the other trees around, and
Wow.
they can send messages out. So say there was I can't remember the name of the study, but there was one study where one type of plant was being eaten, and like the message got down. So when the animals got further down the paddock, it had released a toxin, and it tasted bitter to the animals, protecting the rest of the humans, protecting the rest of the plants from being eaten. So they do have that level of consciousness and you can connect with them. And I've had plants say to me that, when there's a missing animal, sometimes they can recognize that energy and they can try and protect them. And that's why sometimes you won't see an animal when you're looking,
Mm.
and you're looking directly, but they're under a plant because they're literally covering and protecting them.
Wow.
Um, the way I justify it though is that they don't have a nervous system. So
Mm-hmm.
they can't
That's
really feel
true.
that pain, but when they do, like they do experience that. When you haven't they done that with the frequencies when they cut it and then that changes their frequencies and it's the equivalent of what screaming is
Oh my God.
in plant world. Yeah, I know, because I'm like, oh my god, I can't
I
hear
was just
anything.
I was just talking about that last night. There are studies done
Mm,
that show like of taking leaves off a plant. They
mm-hmm,
release like this very high frequency that we can't hear.
Oh
They
my
release it
God.
naturally, but after like one, I can't remember what it was. It was like one every minute or something like that. But um, once you removed a leaf or something from it, it would do it like 25 times in a minute. And it was basically trying to put that together with a plant feeling pain and releasing a
Mm.
signal.
Yep,
Mm.
there's gonna be a lot of people that are just gonna be really screwed, and they're just not gonna eat anything.
Well, I mean, I can't eat air. Uh, I'd like to, trust me. There's probably calories in that
Oh
too.
yeah,
Um,
probably.
yeah, can't get away with anything.
Yeah.
But I do feel that like everything has, you know, a conscious, and you can connect with everything. And
Yeah.
there are the elementals that like inhabit the environment, and the trees and everything like that. But as far as, I'm not going to preach to anyone about whether, like you said, you're a meat eater, I'm not a
Hmm.
meat eater. I honestly feel that's your own choice. I'm very much, everyone has the right to choose, and
Now that you
I,
told
I
me
ha-
that sometimes their spirit gets attached to a piece of meat, I don't know if I can. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to anymore.
sorry.
Oh god,
um,
that's
but
terrible. Poor
yeah,
babies.
it's horrendous.
Maybe
But
I should talk to
again,
the meat first. Be like, it's
it's I
okay if you're
up
here.
to
You
you.
can
I
go
mean,
now.
hey,
Go.
that might
Communicate
be
with
an
your food.
option.
Bacon piece, please go to the light. No.
And let's be real, some of the replacements don't taste great.
No.
But then, then you have the traditional landowners that would use every part of the animal, and, like they'd have a process and a ritual and so I think too, a lot's changed over time from when, people would do it a certain way to the way it's mass produced now, where there's a lot of suffering. I don't feel that's the way it was meant to go.
Yeah.
Um, but again, I'm not going to harp on. It's like people when they talk about their spirituality and they're like, well,
Mm-hmm.
this happens, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
you know what? You don't really know, and maybe there's
Yeah.
a different path for different people, and what's your
Mm-hmm.
path may not be someone else's path.
Yeah.
I just
You
Absolutely.
think,
can't judge.
yeah, not necessarily to bring up the dietary part of it, but I just think it's interesting that we might be for just, we obviously have that argument as a
Mm,
society, as humans, but seeing
mm,
that we're maybe on the precipice of having that argument with the plant world
Yeah.
is very interesting. And I'm
mm,
going to take it way out into the universe, but talking about how if we as humans have lived on this planet for millions of years and we haven't realized that plants are conscious, then
mm,
how would we ever know when we came across an alien life form? You
mm.
know,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
kind of thinking about, man,
Mm.
like, have we really been that dull this whole time?
Yeah.
I
Absolutely, we
think
have.
Yeah,
yeah, I don't think we're the smartest species out there, to be
yeah,
honest.
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's so much bigger than what we can actually even comprehend, I feel.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and years and years ago, and there wasn't so many people on the planet too, like you'd live in existence with the animals and the nature,
Yep.
and people were so much more in tune with nature.
Yeah. We're so
And
separated by it now.
yeah,
Mm.
it's sad, but
So we have a bunch
again, I
of
won't
stuff
harp on it.
happen
Yeah.
in the chat. So
Yeah, we
Luminous
have.
and I am Aisha are not here together. So weird.
Mm,
Totally coincidental. Maybe you guys are supposed to talk to each other. And then
yeah.
I still don't believe it. I think they're pulling our leg.
and Salty was talking about how plants have a community. And actually, when I've done a reading where Salty's plants came through and told they were thanking her for taking care of them. And
Mm.
then Donnie's World said that they can't gain weight.
Oh,
Talking about
jealous.
the food stuff. I guess if the air did have calories, poor Donnie still wouldn't gain any weight. And then Salty
Oh,
said there's a book called The Secret Life of Plants, talks about all the stuff we've been talking about. And then Luminance brought up a very good question. So if you eat a piece of meat that has the animal spirit attached to it, would the animal spirit then become attached to you?
well, that's a good question, but then also you don't keep it in you.
That's
But
true.
what I do feel, what they do, what can happen is because muscle DNA can hold memory.
Mm-hmm.
And so the last memory that these animals have before they're slaughtered is fear,
Yeah.
anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
and stress. So some people that can be sensitive to these things, I'm not saying all, and I don't want to put everyone on the same page kind of thing, but some people that do eat meat, that eat, say, a lot of chicken can actually have a lot of anxiety because the way they live
Yeah, and they don't
is very
realize it.
stressful and anxious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you really are what you eat.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I have a friend
and
who realized that though. Like she stopped eating meat because when she was eating the meat, it was like she was connecting to that animal
mhm.
and she was feeling what they were feeling, and then all of a sudden she was like, nope, can't do this anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and some people won't agree with that, and that's totally fine. That's their
Yeah.
belief system,
Mm-hmm.
no problems. But yeah, I feel that the animal would take a lot longer, and if they weren't crossed over, like once it was gone from that piece of meat, then what? Then they'd
Yeah.
have to look to
Something.
passing on to,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, 'cause horrible.
Yeah. It's craziness.
Yeah, it's each to their own.
Salty asked if you've been watching
Yeah.
Ancient Aliens, Frosty.
I don't watch Ancient Aliens, but on the show, aliens will be a topic. I want to eventually have someone who claims alien abduction on it.
Yes, yeah, that would be really cool.
That'd be cool.
So yeah, we'll get into aliens. Well, we actually talked about this a little bit before stream tonight, but yeah, just eyewitness accounts of ancient aliens. I'm not going to claim that I know anything, and I typically don't really buy into what they try to sell on ancient aliens, but I think it's a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
Mm. Oh, you should. Didn't Amy Allen? Do you guys? What's that show over in America? We only get it. Dead Files.
Yep.
We only get it when you acquire it. And Amy Allen was speaking. I remember she went into a house, and the I think it was the woman was getting abducted by aliens, no matter where she was going,
Mm.
and she didn't really have a because you know how she always offers solutions to get rid of it or move and all
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. And I feel that I think it was like it was going to keep happening to her.
She just like, nah, you're screwed.
Yeah, I'm out. But that's who you need to have on your show, someone like that. That would be interesting.
I probably saw that episode. I've watched so many of those.
Oh,
yeah.
I love Amy Allen.
Yeah.
It's the best.
But I wonder, because they always have to they have a very specific spin for that show, that it's always like the bad stuff. I would like to hear from her, like whether she like the good, like, does she ever see anything good? Does she ever see like something positive? Like, does somebody have like a lovely little fairy that lives in the garden or something? Like, why is it always got to be some terrifying, like, creature?
Yeah, I haven't seen a fairy on that show. It's probably
no
something I haven't
seen. If she did have a fairy on that show, it would be, like, have fangs and claws or something.
Yeah, crawling out of the swamp. Yeah.
They have to sell the.
It climbs upside down on the ceiling. Yeah.
The scary stuff sells. Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So yeah, lots of different. Yeah, talking about that, there's lots of different spins I feel like that have tried to happen with like paranormal television, but it usually ends up going that direction. I think that's just where the money is.
That's where the ratings are. Yeah. People like to watch scary stuff.
Including me.
Yeah, so. I do too. I mean, I just said that I've watched I don't know how many episodes of that show. Like, so Donnie said, yeah, Donnie said that he's very sensitive. I wonder if that has to do with the, why you can't gain weight issue with the meat, maybe. And then, yeah, go ahead, Nicole.
Oh, I was going to say, because if you are an animal empath, you could be taking that on very strongly. Like, again, because I'm an animal empath, so I feel it very much. And but then some people that aren't an animal empath doesn't feel anything, and that's fine. Yeah. That's them. So it might be something to look into.
Yeah. And then we're all in agreement that aliens are very interesting to talk about. Salty said she feels like they're lower vibrational entities. The aliens or the stuff that Amy Allen does? Then she said, I like Amy. I feel like she has a lot of darkness that follows her because of what she does for work. It's very possible. I have a feeling she knows how to get rid of it, though. Plus, I don't know if anybody follows her on Instagram, but she sells crystals. So I think her house is usually full of like these giant crystals and stuff. She's probably fine.
Yeah.
I think she knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And then Luminance said, but then again, how do you define alien? Because technically spirits and stuff like that are aliens. And I read this book.
Yeah.
I haven't done it for my book review yet, but it's called Aliens Among Us by Ruth Montgomery. And it was the first time that I ever thought about or realized that if we're talking about spirit being, that all spirit is from the same source, then alien spirits are from the same source too. And then kind of the opposite of that, then they're not really alien because we're all the same thing in the inside, you know, like our energy's all the same. So I don't know. It gets really complicated.
And if you want to watch those book reviews, you can go find
YouTube.
Medium Jenny Lee on YouTube. They're up there.
Yeah. I need
As
to
well
do
as
one for
every
that.
episode of this show, The
Witching Hours.
is also on YouTube. So if you missed one, go check it out. We've had some cool guests.
Medium Jenny Lee. Yep, last time was Joe with the vampires. And then
Yeah, that was interesting.
next month we're going to have Shayna Marie. She's a Reiki master. She's going to be talking about Reiki. And in April we're going to have Vicky from Divinely Aligned, and she's going to talk about angels and spirit signs.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
They're both awesome.
Yeah.
Spewing I miss Joe. I mean, it's such a good show. Oh, I'll have to go watch it.
Yeah, the vampire one was really cool. Yes.
That would be cool.
You'll just have to chunk it because it's a long one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do it like doing my housework. I
Yeah,
have to like break it up in half an hour.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be good. And
Oh.
Shayna's awesome too.
Yeah. I'm excited about both of them. I just love that
Yes.
through our medium classes, we were all there to learn the same thing, but all of us had our own like specialties, you know? Like
Yeah.
everybody had their own little special thing that made them just completely unique from everybody else. And I think it's really awesome.
Yeah. It's been
Yeah.
a while now, hasn't it too? A couple of
Yeah.
years, and we've all
And we've been
sort of
staying together,
yeah.
keeping in touch and doing stuff. Me and Joe and whoever else we're gonna do a trance practice tomorrow at 3.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the trance stuff. Did you ever do the automatic writing with Cindy?
No, I didn't. I did the psychometry though. That was cool.
Okay, I missed that one.
That
Yeah.
was a really good one.
Did you feel like you were able to do more of psychometry after you took the class?
Yeah, it sort of gave me a little bit more freedom. I don't know, just a bit more like it sort of opened me up. But a while ago, like a few years ago, my husband sent me a photo of a skull
Mm.
that his friend found, and he's like, "Oh, my wife's an animal communicator. She'll do a reading for you." I'm like, "What the hell?
Just
What's going on
volunteered
here?
you
It's a
for it.
skull." Yeah, and it was interesting because I was like, I tapped into. I didn't even realize it was sort of psychometry at the time
Mhm.
either, and I just tapped into the because it's a skull of a head, and I'm like, okay, well the color looks like this to me, like a brown bird, and I feel like it was found in the lower corner of Queensland. You didn't actually cross the border to find it. And when I said that to my husband, he was like, no, I'm pretty sure they found it in New South Wales. And then when he got back to me, he's like, yeah, actually that's exactly where we
Oh,
found it.
wow.
And yeah, so it was interesting to like get that. And then when
Yeah.
you do the course later, I'm like, oh, that's what I was
That's what
doing.
it
I thought I was just
was.
tapping
Yeah.
who knew?
So for those of you who
Um,
don't know what
yeah.
psychometry is, psychometry traditionally is when you touch or hold an object or a surface that you can get psychic information from it because of like, you know, energy leaves that imprint. But you can also do it through photographs or not even seeing the object. I think we practiced with somebody just having the object near them and they didn't show it to us and we had to figure out what it was. But yeah, I
Yeah.
took the automatic writing class and I don't know. It didn't work for me. I
Oh,
practiced
well,
and practiced and
yeah.
like just a bunch of scribbles. So it's
Ah,
not for me at this moment. But the trance stuff, I'm totally into. Like I've seen some advancing just in the few practices we've done.
Well, you've already started kind of accidentally going into trance into your stream, right?
Yeah, on Friday, my first 3 or 4 readings I was starting to, but I don't know how to translate it onto the Twitch platform because a lot of it is like being silent. And like I can't be silent on Twitch for 10 minutes. You know, with like people staring at my face to see if it's going to change, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fair. But that's cool though.
Yeah, it's really, there's so many things to do. Somebody said this the other day in one of our practices. There's so many different things to do when it comes to this kind of work. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just didn't
I think
even
you cross
realize
over
it.
too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like some things come and then some things go, and some things you get really good at, and sometimes you don't. Like automatic writing.
I think it's awesome. Oh well, now you know, not your thing.
It's not my thing right now.
Yeah, it could be later. You never know.
Maybe one day. But then Cindy said that was like the first thing that she really. That was like how she got into it, because automatic writing came to her so easily. Yeah. Yeah.
Then that's her path.
Not me.
But you need to know your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yes,
so I think it makes, it's a good thing.
How are you? I guess your remote viewing skills are pretty sharp because you use them a lot with your missing animals. Being able to see a place.
It's interesting because I see it as if I'm in their head.
So it's more like you're getting it from the animal.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not like me doing, I guess, what they have taught the government to do, the remote viewing.
Mm-hmm.
I get what the animal allows me to see.
That's true. I guess that is different.
Yeah, sometimes they don't want to. That's why it's kind of like a form of remote viewing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they don't want to show you because they're distressed and they don't want to have that connection with you. Then sometimes, like I've seen a cat in a cage in a vet, and I was like in the cage, but the head, it's weird to describe. And so sometimes that's why I can see they're down low because I can see everything up high. And those sorts of things. So it's because we did remote viewing in one of our classes, and I think I was with Brian, and I saw this like 70s kitchen, and it was really weird, and I can't remember whose it was, but that was pretty good. But normally I rely on the animal. I'm very strong on it's what the animal wants to show me, and it's always their message, and I don't want to tamper with their message. So if they allow me to see it, that's what I pass on, and that's cool. I'm just like the telephone cord. That's it.
Yeah, you're the operator.
That's it.
Yeah, which is something that we were just talking about the other day was remote viewing, and possibly down the road in the show having a guest one for remote viewing and seeing if we can do an experiment.
A group of remote viewing. See if you guys can see where we're supposed to be.
Yeah, do it as a group.
That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be really interesting. Yeah.
See what everybody gets.
That's cool.
Yeah, we've been talking about that. All right. Well, we've been on for about an hour and 45 minutes. And in case you forgot, it's actually daytime for Nicole, and she probably has stuff to do. Unlike us, who are just going to go to bed.
I think there's a lot of animals.
The geese already said that they needed some attention, and the rooster, so
they're quiet now.
Yeah, because they probably know we're getting ready to wrap it up. They're not yelling at you anymore. So. Thank you so much, Nicole, for being on. This was so fun, and you're just a wealth of wonderful knowledge and stories.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me. I've had fun.
Good. Anytime you want to come back, I'm sure I can come up with 80 more questions.
Oh,
yeah. I'll warn you. And then we'll be
Yeah.
Definitely. Sounds good. So thank you for having me on. It's been great.
Yes, thank you. All right, viewers, thanks for watching. Thanks for my regulars for coming in. Thanks to my new people for coming in. Yeah. And
do we want to raid somebody?
Yeah, if there's somebody to raid. So I'll be back Friday at my usual time for my usual reading night. So my new people come back Friday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and I'll be doing readings if you want to do a tarot reading or a medium reading. And Frosty's going to find somebody to raid. Hope everybody has a wonderful week. I forgot it's Sunday. Boo. To get up early tomorrow. Oh, goodness.
Who we have here tonight?
Who's on? Anybody? Oh, Little Wing finally saw your message earlier. She said, yes, we did talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that. Oh, let's see. Looking for languages here.
Languages.
Yeah, I don't know how many speak French.
Oh, there's a French tarot person on there today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow! I don't think I've seen a French one. I know there's a lot of Spanish speaking ones.
That's
cool.
Let's go with Dia Magica.
Okay. All right, everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream as soon as Salty's got the raid. You guys have a wonderful week and good night. And thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back soon with another Witching Hours. And I'll be back Friday to do readings.
Hold on 1 second.
Oh.
I'm being slow tonight.
That's right. Usually, when I have to do it by myself, you guys know how slow I am. Okay, it's working.
Okay.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.